Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Serena, your Upland newbie, and I am featuring again JMANSUY from Upland Gaming, and we're discussing his, his partnership or his games, your game and your partner's game of Legit Leagues, which is awesome. I've been participating myself. I did get my lineup thanks to the help of Upland Gaming, their Discord server. They have a channel for rookies. You guys can go in there, get a little help. So we're going to be talking a little bit about what's happening with my particular lineup, and then also, I guess, what we should be looking at going forward too. So, welcome, JMANSUY. Thank you for coming back. How are you?
Great, thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm happy that you decided to try it out. I hope you're having fun with it, and watching the matchups and the points tick up. And if it's giving you any more interest in actually watching the games and rooting for your guys, then that's great. So, but yeah, thanks for having me, and let's talk some football.
Okay. Well, it definitely has given me an interest, for sure. Like, just even being near the shops now, like, I never cared so much about, like, oh, am I in the location of a, legit store because I didn't care about buying them. But now looking for them, I was like, okay. And then these sales are popping up about mementos right now. Now I'm suddenly interested. So I even might traveled, I think, to San Francisco for the next sale. But let's go ahead and take a look at my lineup because I do have some questions. I was trying to
Yeah.
find follow a little bit, but I was
hmm
thinking when I looked, I was like, well, maybe I look like I'm behind, but maybe not everybody has actually played. So, but I don't know.
hmm
And then I have a negative. How does someone get negative? How does that happen?
let's look here. So I think the viewers should know we're recording this Monday night. So the Bills are playing the Titans right now. And you've got three Bills on your lineup. So you've got the quarterback Josh Allen, and his favorite wide receiver, Stephon Diggs, and Jordan Poyer, the safety. So these guys are still building points for you. Unfortunately, on the other side, your opponent has Josh Allen too,
Right.
and so those are like canceling each other out. And it looks like you and your opponent were very similar minded because you both have Josh Allen, you both have Saquon Barkley, and you both have Micah Parsons, who had a really good game, by the way.
Oh, I see. Oh, wow. 20 points. Yeah.
So yeah, Micah Parsons, you line up right with each other, 20 points. That's really good. Boy, Dalton Schultz, oh, getting a negative. That is just that's really sad. I haven't seen the details enough of that game to know exactly what happened, but he must have fumbled the ball or something like because you get negative points for a fumble. He
Oh.
probably had like one catch and then he fumbled it, and so he got
Ah,
negative points. So that's a bummer. But you got again, you got a really solid performance out of Micah Parsons. Punter came through. Braden Mann, that's really good. Anytime you're double digits, that's like a
that's
that's
good.
a good kind of start. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, I mean, you want your quarterbacks to get like 30 or more. And then your other guys, you want them like all in the double digits. So you've got a really good quarterback. So I think yeah, I mean, look, we're not even at halftime yet, and he's already into the double digits. So I mean, you're good there. The unfortunate thing is that your opponent is playing the
Has the
same
same
quarterback.
people, right? So I feel like because of the negative, I probably not gonna win. Like I can't really come back because it's so the same people mostly, right?
Well,
Left over.
you still have a pretty good chance because Stephon Diggs is Josh Allen's favorite target. So, if he gets like two touchdowns, then you're back on top. So
Seems to go
anything can
what?
happen.
Okay. All
And
right. I can watch.
one thing we've seen this week is which I think is really interesting is the whole anything can happen factor because so many of the guys who are did great in week 2 are not necessarily guys that did great in week 1. And some of the guys that did great in week 1 didn't necessarily do well in week 2. So that's part of the interesting thing. And I think that's part of what has happened here and why some of you have a lot of common players like Saquon Barkley, for example. Let's take Saquon. Saquon was the number 1 running back last week. So, of course, a lot of people are going to be like, I need to play Saquon. So you played Saquon and your opponent both played Saquon. But then, as we saw, Saquon didn't have a great game, which is a shame, too, because Saquon is one of our ambassadors for Legits, too. So,
Oh,
kind
I
of root
thought
for
that
him a
name
little
sounded
extra, right?
familiar.
Yeah, yeah. And by the way, he is a really talented running back. I remember watching him run all over my Michigan Wolverines when he was at Penn State.
Okay.
And he's been a little hobbled by injuries in his career so far, but man, he's got a lot of talent. Um, but while week 1 is Saquon Barkley and DeAndre Swift and Jonathan Taylor, those guys did great in week 1. But then week 2, they really fell off. And then Nick Chubb and Aaron Jones were way ahead. So who knows what's going to happen week 3. So I think what's going to happen, what you're going to start seeing with the legit leagues is there's going to be a little bit more of a lineup shakeup because now who do you play? You really it's there's some strategy where you can go and you can research like, okay, what teams are allowing a lot of rushing yards? Okay, so like you want if you have guys that are going up against bad defenses, then that's a good thing, right? Like uh if a team that the Giants are playing next week is giving up a lot of yardage, then Saquon is going to be a really good start. But like because Saquon plays for the Giants. So, but if the Giants opponent next week, which I don't know offhand who they're playing, but if their opponent next week has a really good defense and they've been stopping the run effectively, then it might be time to say, "Ooh, maybe Saquon should, take a seat on the bench this week and someone else should step up."
Well, who's
So
someone else? So who's a good someone else?
okay, well, again, you could look at this week. You could Nick Chubb and Aaron Jones, they did great. So then you could look at next week and say, okay, Nick Chubb plays for Cleveland. So who's Cleveland playing against? And Aaron Jones plays for Green Bay. So who's Green Bay playing against? So those kind of matchups.
Had to put those in my notes.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So that's part of the strategy of figuring out like another great example is Aiden Hutchinson on the defensive side. So he's a defensive end that plays for Detroit, and he had a great game in week 2. He had 3 sacks, and sacks are
Oh.
big. So, but in week 1 he didn't have any. Well, what's the difference? Week 1, the Lions were playing against a quarterback that could run, okay, a mobile quarterback. So when Aiden tried to get him, he would get away. But in week 2, they played against Washington, who doesn't have a very mobile quarterback. He's more of a pocket passer. And so Aiden was able to get to him. So that's one where you might be like, okay, if you've got Aiden Hutchinson, you look at who are the Lions playing? Are they playing a team with a mobile quarterback like Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson or Kyler Murray or Jalen Hurts, one of those kind of guys, or are they playing more of a pocket passer type of quarterback? Because if they're playing a guy who likes to stay in the pocket, then it would be a good idea to play Aiden. So like you look at Carson Wentz is an example, or Joe Burrow. Those are more pocket passers. But Carson Wentz has been surprisingly good, even though he's gotten sacked a lot. He's actually been in the top 3 quarterbacks both weeks, and which is really surprising because this is a guy that no one wanted. He's been traded twice in the last 2 years, and so he was basically given up for dead, and he's doing really great now.
And his legits are in
But
the store. And
oh yeah,
okay,
yeah,
all right.
yeah, you can go
Everyone
buy
you've
him.
mentioned available.
Oh yeah, yeah. These
Okay.
are all guys who are playing now. They're 2022s, and that's another thing. Um, because of the timing of the release of the 2022 legits, we weren't able to get them into the system for week 1, but they are all in the system now for week 2 and beyond. So if someone wants to jump in and start playing week 3, they can play with their 2022 legits.
Okay, perfect.
So,
Question for
and
you.
yeah, what's that?
With my game, so what happens if, like, does it ever happen where someone doesn't get matched up? And if so, what happens?
So we really try to make sure that all of the matchups are all of the leagues get closed. So when it's coming close to game time, we'll really make an effort to get the leagues filled. And then if we think that there's not going to be enough time to fill another league, we'll just close it off. So we'll say no more entries. We're cutting it off, and we generally give a little notice like, hey, this last call, if you want to get in now. So fortunately we haven't had to have a situation like that yet, but if it arose where we couldn't fill a league, we would refund tokens for someone to play again in a future match. But we've got more game modes coming, like, so the full season leagues, obviously those already started week 1. It's too late to get into those. So right now we've got the weekly leagues going, but we do have more game modes coming where you'll be able to play for an extended period of time for more prizes and stuff. So we're trying to add more features as we go. This first year is kind of like a beta, and that
Yes.
we're working on it as we go,
Yeah,
but the idea is, again, we're the first layer 2 platform to launch, and we're really, we're trying to add utility for the players and give Upland players more reason to own legits.
definitely have.
Yeah, so it's something fun to do with them. But
It's it
and I really like it. What's that?
it is. It really is fun. Like, and I'm not even into football, but I just like, I'm like not like super into football. I like the Super Bowl, but like this has really been fun. It's been fun just like
Mm-hmm.
because of like obviously just the potential. I feel like just knowing what you all are bringing to the table for Upland, that like makes it all the more exciting and makes me want to get involved. Just because I want to like, I feel like this is gonna go take off, and so yeah. But definitely just for me, I didn't care about legits at all, and now I just feel like this is such an amazing idea, and that people who like football, I just can't imagine them not being really excited about it. Like who like it more than me, you know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
I feel like
Mm-hmm.
good job, thanks,
Well, thank you.
kudos
Yeah,
to you
it's
guys.
thank you. It's funny you say that another kind of, I guess, similar story is my friend Relix 27. This is a guy from the Netherlands who uh I mean, he really didn't know anything about American football, and so, but he got into legits, and he kind of looked into it and he researched, and he kind of fell in love with Miami. Like, that became kind of his
Interesting,
adopted
the
team.
Dolphins.
So he loves the Dolphins. So he's collected all kinds of Dolphins legits, and he decided to play this week,
Oh,
and he put his whole lineup was all Dolphins. So he had Tua Tagovailoa for his quarterback, and he had Jalen Waddle for his wide receiver, and that kind of. Well, what's funny is that the Dolphins scored a ton of points. He scored 42 points.
oh
Tua
wow,
had 6 touchdown passes. He was the number 1 quarterback in the league.
oh wow.
So it worked out. It worked out really well for him. And it's funny too because, like, this week the Tua and Lamar Jackson were the leading quarterbacks. Well, I know Josh Allen is still playing and he's a good contender, but
Like,
Josh
the
Allen and Patrick
refreshing
Mahomes were the
changes.
leaders last week. Oh yeah, you can refresh it and see how it updates as we go along.
Did I get any more points? I think, yeah, 14.9.
Yeah, see, look,
Yes,
you've closed the gap.
I
You're
have.
only 12 behind now. Um,
Ah,
so you could do it. Looks like you still
fingers
need
crossed.
Stephon Diggs to get it in the end zone, but yeah, hey,
It's
it's
okay. I have more
fun.
tokens ready to go for my next match. I'll keep trying. So
Yeah,
I was close. It's okay.
don't give up
I'm
yet.
not.
Don't give up.
I'm not. I feel like I mean, I got these legits. I might as well keep playing them. I bought some time. I have 200 more tokens, and that's like if I keep doing the 51 per week, that's 4 more weeks at least. So right,
Yeah, yeah.
I figure why not do it that way. See what happens. I don't even know what I would win, but I was like, I just don't think I'm advanced enough to go try out anything else yet. So
Well, hey, you know what?
maybe.
You're doing good. You're getting your feet wet. You're getting kind of a feel for it.
Yeah.
So I guess the one piece of advice right now, the tight ends have been pretty disappointing. Obviously, Dalton really let you down this week. But even overall, like it's been a position that's been so far. I mean, again, we've got 2 weeks, but so far it's been really inconsistent because we had like Travis Kelsey, who's one of the top two tight ends. He had a really good week in week one, but then he fell way off in week two. And then the other guy who's considered the top two, Mark Andrews from Baltimore, he did nothing in week one. And then week two, he had a good week. But either way, when you average it all out, tight end has actually not been a very good position. So, what you might want to look at is maybe like a defensive end that has that gets a lot of sacks. Like someone like Nick Bosa, for example. He's a guy who's a really steady contributor on the defensive side that I think he'll get you a good solid double digit points each week.
Okay.
And obviously if you had 10 points instead of negative point two,
Right?
it would have
I
helped.
know.
But you know what? But
Yeah.
that's why they play the games. You never know. And that's why we as sports fans we love watching, because if everything was decided on paper, it would be boring. So we watch the games, we see what happens, we cheer for the surprises when they work in our favor, and what do they say, the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat, right?
Right.
So um
Yeah. Well, it's been good. I really appreciate all your help. And I obviously appreciate you bringing this, to the table for all of us Upland players. Can't wait to see what's up next. You got any, like, I don't know, hints at what you're planning on next for us?
um yeah, well, here's what I'll say. Our plan is to make it so you can play against more than one player at a time.
Oh,
So you can play in like a pool of players, and then that way it's not necessarily a head to head, but it's whoever gets the most points out of the group. And then have multiple prize tiers and stuff like that. So
sounds fun.
so that's the thing we're working on. I apologize to my development team right now for throwing that out there. But,
Like, what?
um,
Well, no timelines. It's
but
okay.
they're hard at work, and again, I love the team I'm working with here. These guys are great. They're working really, really hard to bring this to life and make sure that all of our players are having fun. So
We
um,
are.
I want to give them a shout out too. So
Yes, actually, yeah, definitely. Do you want to name them? Like who they are, all your team?
yeah, yeah, sure. The dev team is Abstract, The Tempest, and Steve. And then also on the business side, like with me, is Texas Ag, Brad, who was in our previous video. And so the five of us, and then we also have we have an honorary member of our team, is Dejac, who's joined us and helped us with the graphics. Like she's done the graphics you see. I love our logo, which is right here. She designed that, and I fell in love with it right away. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's a U and a G, and it's intersecting, and it's awesome. So she's done the graphics, and she did that. She did our second promo video too. That's really cool, and I really, so thankful to be working with such a talented team.
Yeah.
And we got a lot more planned too beyond legit leagues. But our focus right now during the football season is really to make sure that we're bringing the Upland players the best product we can.
Like, don't give it away. Developers will be mad. But yeah, you have. Well, thank you. It's been a quality product so far. Your website's excellent. So yeah, thank you again for coming back and talking. And we'll be in touch again. I hopefully maybe again in a couple of weeks as I get more lineups matched up and see how I progress. If and when I win, I'll have to have you back on to show you I won.
Okay, great. Right. Good luck.
Thank you. Well, okay. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for having me again.
Thank you. Okay, there, wait. Ah.